Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth from the Trail. Now I know it doesn't look like I'm on the trail, but I am about 100 yards, maybe a little further from the trail. I am just outside Duncannon, Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful little spot that I know. You see the bridge right there that leads into Duncannon. And I just walked across that bridge, and from the bridge I saw this little spot sticking out in the merger of one river and the Susquehanna River, and that's what you see behind me. Directly behind you is a major interstate, so you're going to hear all kind of road noise and trucks coming through and 18-wheelers, and it doesn't look like wilderness. But there are places on the Appalachian Trail where the trail goes directly through towns. You can even see the markings of the Appalachian Trail on sidewalks, on fence posts, on light poles. For instance, Hot Springs, North Carolina is one of those places. Damascus, Virginia is another one of those places. Duncannon, Pennsylvania is another spot. And if you go across that bridge and back that way, it's about a mile, and immediately you're in Duncannon, and then in a mile or a little more than a mile, you walk through Duncannon. If I were going to continue on the Appalachian Trail, I would go behind you and get on that bridge going across the Susquehanna River and head off to the north, which is where thru hikers go. But my journey on the Appalachian Trail is going to end this section. At this point, I've done about 230 miles, and my feet are ready to go home and look for some new adventures, maybe right there in western North Carolina. The journey has been great. I've enjoyed bringing these stories to you, and that will continue in some other location. Before I leave Duncannon, let me bring you a story from the New Testament that picks up just after our last story, where Jesus delivered the man of the unclean spirits at the place called the Gadarenes. When Jesus and his disciples left that land, that area, they went back across the sea to Capernaum, and they were ministering. He was teaching, and as he was teaching, a ruler of the synagogue came up to him and said, my daughter, his name was Jairus, by the way. Jairus said, "My daughter is sick to the point of death. Would you please come and lay your hands on her so that she might be healed?" And Jesus agreed and said, "Yeah, I'll do that." And he and his disciples left and went with Jairus to go to his house to see his daughter. As they were going, crowds were pressing in around him and people wanting to talk to him and have him minister to them. One of the people who pressed through that crowd was a woman who had had a blood disease for 12 years. She had an issue of blood, and no one could figure out what would take care of her. She'd been to doctors, physicians. She'd spent her life savings, her money. She had nothing. And for 12 years, she'd struggled with this disease, and it only got worse. And she thought to herself, if I could just touch the hem of his garments, I'll be healed. So she pressed through this crowd, and sure enough, she reached forward, she touched his clothing, and when she did, the healing power flowed out of him into her, and she felt the blood dry up, and her problem was taken care of. Well, immediately Jesus also felt that healing power flow from him, and he turned around and he said, "Who touched me?" Well, they were in a mob of people, and his disciples said, "Lord, there are people pressing in on every direction. How can you say, 'Who touched me?'" And she stepped forward because she knew what had happened. She knew the touch of Jesus had healed her, and she stepped forward and she fell before him, and she told him what had happened. And he looked at her and he said, "My daughter, your faith has made you well. Go now, healed of your disease." Well, about that time, someone came up from Jairus' home and told him Jairus, don't bother this man anymore. Your daughter has died. Jesus looked at Jairus and said, don't be afraid, simply believe. And they went on to the house. Jesus took 3 of his disciples, Peter, James, and John, to the house. And when they got there, there was a group of mourners and people that were playing flutes and music and the type things they did in those days. And Jesus pressed in and he said, why are you doing this? She's not dead. She's asleep. She's not dead. Well, they laughed at him. But still, he cleared the house of the people, and he had Jairus take Jesus to his daughter. And when he got there, he took her hand, and he said, little girl, get up. And she did. And I mean, she was 12 years old. She got up out of bed and started walking around. And Jesus instructed the ones right there in that room, don't tell anyone what you've seen. But now, get some food and feed this child. Well, our story ends there. It's a wonderful story. It ends so happy and amazing. But a few things that we can dig out of it before I go back into Duncannon. As we look at the story, there are really 2 stories wrapped up in one. The story of Jairus and his daughter being brought back from the dead, and the story of this woman with this blood disease where she had had a flow of blood for 12 years. So let's start with Jairus. And the first very obvious thing, our story said he was a ruler in the synagogue. That meant he was a very powerful, authoritative Jewish leader. And yet he risked losing his job, losing his reputation, losing maybe his family fortune. We don't know exactly. But he really put his neck out on the line to go to Jesus. Boy, I don't know about you, but the first life lesson I see very clearly is never let pride or the fear of losing something stop me from going to Jesus. I mean, this man could have had all kind of pride. He was a ruler in the synagogue, a big, great Jewish leader. And that didn't stop him. I wonder what kind of things have, over my lifetime, have stopped me from crying out to Jesus in times of need. Don't let pride stop me from going to Jesus. Well, now we go to the story of the woman with the issue of blood. You know, we are so quick to jump on bandwagons and to, boy, you hear that road noise? There's a motorcycle flying over that bridge. We'll let him pass. Okay. The woman with the issue of blood reached out and touched Jesus' garment, the hem of his clothes. We're so quick to look for gimmicks. We buy holy water and magical cloths and get special people to touch us and all these kinds of things. And I'm not meaning to be critical, but pay attention to the story. The story says he turned around and looked at her, and when she fell at his feet and said, "It was me," what did he say to her? Do you remember? "My daughter, you're what? Touching my clothing? No. Here, let me cut off a piece of my robe and give it to..." No. "Your faith," that's right, "your faith has made you well." Y'all, that's it. It's faith. It's not gimmicks. It's not abracadabra, magical words, or special water or things like that. It's faith. We saw that in the story about the centurion. It was his faith that attracted Jesus to him. So it was her faith, not the clothing, not the hem of his garments. It was her faith. So there it is again. To me, the life lesson is that the most important thing in my relationship with him is not any kind of gimmick, but it's my faith. And then we go back to the story of Jairus and his daughter who had died. And did you remember what Jairus said what Jesus said to Jairus, don't be afraid, believe. Now, look, I get it. There have been times that I've lost people that were very dear to me, family members, friends, and I prayed, Lord, if you could save their lives, please do so. And He chose not to, and they went on, and I'm trusting now they're in heaven. Sometimes He does bring life, and sometimes He doesn't, and that's His choice. But for those of us who know Him, we saw this in an earlier story. He's coming back for us, and He's preparing a place for us. So the life lesson there is I don't have to be afraid. Whether He miraculously saves me now or whether He miraculously saves me later, that's His choice as far as the timing goes. The fact is, we don't have to be afraid. We simply trust Him. So don't let pride stop you from going to Jesus. Go to Jesus with faith and believe that He's got it all under control. Those are the life lessons that I see in all of this. There are probably others, and maybe you see something in there. Go back and read this. This is in other Gospels, and each Gospel gives a little different details. We've talked about that before. But great story, 2 stories in one. And next time we find each other in Truth from the Trail, we may be in a different location, may not be on the Appalachian Trail, or we may be, but somewhere else. I'm headed home. I'll see you next time on Truth from the Trail.